We're going to continue listening as we've been doing these days. This is a great exercise of constant listening. And the afternoon is always a challenge, right? After moving around during the morning, it's already the fourth day. We may be more tired with all of this. We're going to put our heart in a listening mode. Let us remember that we already received a lot of content and we are processing it little by little. The first day, Yolanda and Pat gave us a very rich report on what was done at UISG. Today we have with us Sister Sheila Kinsey on my right. She's a member of the Franciscan Sisters, Daughters of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, Executive Co-Secretary of the Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation Commission of USG and UISG. She is the coordinator of the UISG campaign, Sowing Hope for the Planet. She collaborates and coordinates a lot of work. We also have with us Sister Gabriela Botan here on my left. She's a member of the Comboni Missionary Sisters. She's the director of Talita Kum, this international network of religious life of UISG against human trafficking. We're going to listen to both of them about what they have experienced and what they achieve. And we are very grateful to them for everything that they do in these realities. Sheila has the floor.
Thank you so much for that very thoughtful and kind introduction. I am delighted to be here with you and to share the work that we have been doing since the last plenary. This report is on the UISG initiative, Sowing Hope for the Planet, and it covers our 3 years. We are embracing vulnerability on the Synod journey with our common home as we are sowing the hope for the planet. We as religious are journeying together in synodality. Our welcome is radical as we journey to the peripheries. We live communion in loving relationships and achieve participation because opportunities abound for this. We're open to mission, promoting the gospel, the good news of Christ, the liberation and well-being of all. You as leaders recognize the urgency of the global crisis for our common home. The time to act is now. You can see that the disasters are everywhere. Everything is interconnected, the environment, social dimensions, the economy, and culture. And this graph shows us, looking at the biodiversity loss, the challenge of climate change, nitrogen cycle, we need to be addressing all of these issues in the ways that we can. And here is the statement that has continued to stimulate us. We commit ourselves to both personal and communal conversion, and we wish to move forward together in an orchestrated and coordinated response in listening to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor as we go forth as instruments of hope in the heart of the world. We accepted that statement by acclamation in 2019. And it was a way of really honoring what was already happening as we actualized Laudato Si. For Sowing Hope in the Planet initially was a campaign in which all sisters whose congregations are members of UISG and their connections are provided opportunities to actualize Laudato Si and to make a difference in the care of our planet. Our goal is to become painfully aware, to dare to turn what is happening in the world into our own personal suffering, and thus to discover what each of us can do about it. So we have been living the synodal process for many years. Religious have been working with the care of creation and integral ecology. The formal endorsements were in recognition of what already was being done. The UISG board in 2018 endorsed the initiative. It was asked to be coordinated by the JPISA Commission of both unions, USG and UISG, culminating in the vision statement we just read. And we continue to move forward with this incentive. And to carry it forward, we met in constellations, designating a contact person, looking at the resources, really meeting to see what it is that we could do, and to determine actions regarding the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. And here you see the map on Sowing Hope for the Planet in the constellation colors, and an opportunity to see different commitments. Here we have an example from North America, another example in Spanish from South America, and another example from Africa in French. So the language is there in what was submitted from the different regions, constellations, but all of it is available in English. It's intended to be a public witness to really let others know what the religious are doing in those areas. And it is an example of how we can be networking together. The website, Sowing Hope for the Planet, is very interactive, and it includes a mapping of different advocacy efforts. It focuses on the 7 goals. So we have work being done at the grassroots on migrants and refugees, on ecological education, biodiversity actions, climate change, mining actions. All of these relate to the Laudato Si goals. And we can look here on the website and pull up and look at any of the icons. And here we see something from the Sisters of St. Francis in Dubuque, Iowa, and all of the work that they're doing with the biodiversity campaign, prairie restoration. So it's a way of sharing with one another what we are able to do. And this serves then for a later project with sisters globally acting as advocates. And we'll hear more about that a little later. So we've had a number of webinars, really, to see how can we be updated and what are the areas. So we've dealt with the season of creation. We've been there for the Synod on the Amazon. We've talked about the COPs. We've given updates in terms of how we can be more engaged in the Laudato Si action platform. We covered areas relating to sustainability, integral ecology, the various areas related to Laudato Si in different movements, about care of the earth, care of the creation, and synodality. These were intended to be practical, challenging, informative, inspirational, and encouraging. But it always was about the work that is happening throughout the areas where our sisters are. We wanted to raise that up. Special tools have been developed by our sisters, sharing plans here with Laudato Si goals, and also a commitment statement. So you can use that and have that be an example of going forward. An emphasis, if I have heard something many times, it was connect to your charism. And that's what we've been asked to do, to energize, to be in a specific mission of carrying out the gospel, but in the way that each congregation has a special gift. And in that way, to transition to the Laudato Si goals in a new way and have that be an integral ecology. You were given letters to be updated on what's been happening, a sample for a commitment statement, and always newsletters to help you know what is happening, because this is such an important effort for us as religious. We were there when the Laudato Si Action platform was launched, and it was because of the experience of religious that we were able to participate on the panel when the Laudato Si platform was launched by Pope Francis. We are leaders of the religious sector, members of the Laudato Si steering board, and the Ecology Task Force for COVID-19 Commission. All of these are opportunities to contribute to the development of the Vatican-sponsored Laudato Si Action Platform. The resources developed for Sowing Hope for the Planet are being shared with Laudato Si website. We are sharing 160 of our resources with that platform. We continue, though, to take special care of our religious, both men and women, even as we strongly support involvement of our congregations in this platform. We have developed a guide for the platform, tools for planning, and a best practices notebook. And this is our way of contributing to including the other 7 sectors. These joint efforts continue because the Laudato Si Action platform is composed of 7 sectors. And here we see them, religious being very central. We have families, educational institutions, the economy, parishes and dioceses, hospitals and healthcare, and congregations and organizations and groups, because it's very important for us to interconnect with one another and to realize what we do is important, but we have to influence larger companies, corporations, because the responsibility of much that is being done for the planet rests with them and their responsibility to take care of the world. So we're looking at that. Alongside, we partner with our very famous 7 goals: the earth, the poor, the ecological economics, have a sustainable but simple lifestyle, an ecological education, an ecological spirituality, and look at community resilience and empowerment. Now we're having a very beneficial relationship with sisters advocating globally. We're engaged in some training sessions for advocacy, following really the practice of nonviolence and engaging in training that has an overview in terms of all of the different areas and a specialty in terms of communication skills. So we're at the periphery, This is now where we need to be to help our world in new ways. They continue in this session to have all of the areas that we talked about on the mapping in terms of looking at the areas of mining and climate change, biodiversity, because we need to have this training in order to make a difference. Small group sharing, you can see that we go around the world, so we get a sense of what's happening in the different parts of our globe and how we can interact and be connected to one another. We are exceeding our goals and making an impact on our contributions to the Laudato Si Action platform. And this is the statistic from April 14th, in which the enrollment includes 392 congregations and 610 communities. Now, what's mapped here are only those communities that wanted at this time to go public. And in fact, in terms of total enrollment, that is 21% of the enrollment in the Laudato Si Action platform. We started out with saying, could we get 50? And look at this. Really, sisters, you've been tremendous in moving us forward and really setting an example for how we can work together. And for this, I would like to introduce to you Father Jostrom Isaac Karithadam. He's a Salesian. He's the coordinator of the sector of ecology and creation from the dicastery. He is very much the leader, but we work together in certainly in a collaborative spirit. And he has a message for you on the vulnerability of the synodal journey and how we can work together.
Dear sisters, best wishes and greetings from the Vatican Dicastery for promoting integral human development. From the ecology sector, we would like to thank you and congratulate you for your leadership in the area of creation prayer through the beautiful program
Las
Serving
traductoras no
for the
están
Planet,
escuchando.
and for your
Perdón.
great collaboration in taking forward the Laudato Si Action platform.
The translators
I
are
would like
not
to share
hearing
with
the
you
video.
Al menos al
The
español no hay
translators,
traducción.
no,
First of
there's
all,
no translation. The
we are
translators cannot
living
hear
in
the
a
video.
critical moment, as Pope Francis says in Laudato Si, the cry of the earth
No
and
se
the cry
escucha en
of
las
food
cabinas
is getting
el video.
louder and louder.
The video is
On
not being
4th of
heard in the translation
April,
booths.
IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change,
What should I
published
do?
the third volume of their report, saying that we have just 3 years to change direction. This is the critical decade in which we live. The earth is crying out. A few weeks ago, we saw in South Africa, where there are floods. In 48 hours, there was so much of rain that would have fallen in 6 months' time. Over 500 people lost their lives, and so many people suffered, along with so many other species, the rest of God's creation. So it is a critical point. The second point is that we are invited to embrace this vulnerability of the planet and of the poor. The children are crying out that time is running out. On 22nd of April 2020, on the 50th anniversary of the Earth's Day, Pope Francis, in his catechesis, he began saying that we can overcome challenges by growing in solidarity. And he said, embracing the most vulnerable in our midst. And that is the journey that you are undertaking, especially in your plenary assembly. And as religious, it is our prophetic vocation. So our vocation as religious creation. So that is the second point I would like to make. Let's embrace vulnerability. The third and the last point is, let's do it together, walking the synodal path. Together, we can create a critical mass. We are grateful to you because you are pioneers with Sowing Hope for the Planet. Now with the LAUDATO, the actual platform that Pope Francis inaugurated on 14th of November 2021, World Day of the Poor, the Holy Spirit is telling us that together and making the poor the most vulnerable, the protagonists, we can meet this challenge. Thank you so very much for walking with us. Let us together create a movement from below, reach the critical mass so that we can preserve Earth, our common home, for ourselves, for the rest of our brothers and sisters, especially the most vulnerable, and the rest of God's creation. Thank you so very much, and God bless. Dear.
Yeah, Father Josh is fond of remembering of the work of the sisters and of the religious, and has called us really to be on the forefront because we are in all of the other areas, and he really counts on us to be there for him. He is very encouraging, and really he often reminds others of our work, and that was his message for you as well. So thank you. So to have a little bit of data, so we can look at a survey that went out, and 32 of our constellations, so the majority of the constellations, responded to this survey to evaluate what was happening with Sowing Hope for the Planet and the LAUDATO Action Platform. And this is the results as of March of 2022. And where are we with LAUDATO Si, in terms of your commitment to moving it forward? And you spoke in terms of how you're carrying it forward with an increased force on your educational opportunities, working in terms of a number of environmental actions, having congregational planning, and I know chapters have been taking place with this in mind. There's been different pastoral services that have taken place and a number of other activities as well. So you looked at the calamities that were happening around you. You worked on agriculture and healthcare and divesting from fossil fuels, got involved with political advocacy and environmental action on water and conservation and recycling. So you really put forth a way of creating a hope for the planet. So the emphasis on education and environment shows that constellations welcome support on these issues, ranging from networking to even funding. And what are the challenges that you mentioned here? Okay, reported, of course, was having to deal with COVID. Another was dealing with the whole economic crisis, but in a sense, that also was part of dealing with the COVID crisis. The burden of too many responsibilities and dealing with a number of local environmental disasters. And the challenge of having people wanting to be involved, a lack of interest, and you're needing to keep them enthused. And so some of the areas that you continue to work with is really trying to engage others in this process and dealing with how you can overcome some of the insecurity that's in your countries and also deal with some of the languages. And what you hope to do with this commitment. So 85% still hope to continue with the commitments that you've listed for LAUDATO Si and to fulfill them by collaborating with one another and developing educational opportunities, caring for the earth, working at pastoral care, sharing with finances, and working together on policy development at the federal and local levels. And considering the fact that there is an enormous support within the constellations about your commitments, especially concerning the environment and areas that are in need. For example, much with the refugees and migrants is an area that has come up in a number of cases. Most of the congregations in the constellations responded that their members are not working with the other sectors of the Laudato Si action platform, which I had mentioned earlier. And those that were involved in educational institutions, parishes, dioceses, and intercongregational work. But it was clear that in other answers to the survey, you are also still involved in healthcare and families, economics, and different organizations. So this may have been a reason for this answer is because we're still developing this understanding of how we need to work together. But we want to continue to emphasize that because there's a need for us to do this because it's a request of the Laudato Si action platform. The majority of those who answered said that yes, we should continue with Sowing Hope for the Planet. 10% said no, because of an understanding or feeling we don't want to be doing too much. But as you can see, both the platform and the campaign Sowing Hope are integrated. And they found it as a way of being able to care for the planet, to respond to changing times, having a commitment to ecological issues, and really finding ways to be in this together. Okay. So what are some suggestions for future direction for Sowing Hope for the Planet, the campaign, and strategic planning from the Laudato Si Action Platform? You can see what we are very fortunate is we started this as a campaign, and it's easier for us to fold into this platform because of our own background. So going forward, what is a direction? Continue with assistance through personal contact and specific tools as needed. The work of Sowing Hope for the Planet has shown there are many voices waiting to be heard, and that there is an opportunity for them to speak, acknowledging what they've done, giving support and outreach in multiple languages, serving the larger community in our efforts to grow. Offer webinars that provide timely and relevant information. The webinars offered by Sowing Hope for the Planet have been well attended. And the webinars are recorded and posted on our website and the YouTube channel and on the JPIC workshop website as well, because we have them work with the Laudato Si goals as part of their planning. And the videos continue to be viewed. To enhance opportunities for networking, both local and international, through the organizational format of the constellations and national religious organizations. Networking can be enhanced by organizing around issues such as mining and diversity, as we have spoken to before, and language outreach. 4, collaboration, promote work with the sectors that we had mentioned is something that is a challenge for us. Strengthen the journey by developing programs and tools based on requests and the needs for skill development. And encourage the enrollment each year as members of the Laudato Si Action Platform, as this is the place where efforts of all 7 sectors is coordinated to help reach a tipping point for change. And this is an urgent need for us to move forward in a bold cultural revolution. 3.5 for change, but 21 to 25% for change of the system. And you can see what we're trying to do here as we're working together with very deliberate steps. And this is what is the requirement from Laudato Si Action Platform, something that we're very used to doing, reflecting, having a reflective statement, having an annual Laudato Si plan, looking at those 7 goals and evaluating that annually. That is the requirement for the Laudato Si Action Platform. As we work together, as Father Josh was saying, The Sowing Hope for the Planet for Religious is helping move that forward in the platform. And in February of 2021, the Executive Council of USG expressed support for the Laudato Si Action platform and encouraged all USG member congregations to join forces in a coordinated manner in the face of this important challenge. Father Joseph Bly, OFM Conventional, also the Executive Co-Secretary of the JKIC Commission of USG and UISG, along with myself, continues to work with the members of USG, promoting involvement with the platform. So with this, I thank you for all the ways that you have made this world a better place through your efforts to actualize Laudato Si. Your work is making a difference. This has been a remarkable and fruitful journey in the movement of the Holy Spirit. May God bless your efforts as you move forward, continuing forward, sowing hope for the planet. So thank you, sisters, very much.